Okay, so what inspired the idea for Thriller Chiller?
The idea of Thriller Chiller was inspired by a conversation that Chris Randall and myself had back in early 2006. We wanted to create a festival that we would want to go to, that we'd want to attend and be excited about. And ironically, we've been able to, after 8 years, with a great deal of help from our friends in the community, be able to create that sort of festival, like an adventure every 2 hours. And we don't get to go to it much because we're busy working.
Yeah.
Who knew?
What have been some of the best compliments that people have given you for Thriller Chiller?
It's a wonderful question. It goes right to the heart of it, doesn't it? Here's a really good story. A guy that I know through work, not through filmmaking or anything. I spoke to him last year, and he was like, "Hey, I hear this thing about this festival. I hear you had something to do with it. Can I, I'm going to come out there and take a look at it. I'm not big into horror films or action movies, but hey, I'd like to come see it." I said, "Well, great, Steve. I'd like to have you here. Let's get you into some of these movies and see what you think about them." Well, he goes to he comes in, him and his wife and their friend come in. They're sort of like, I don't know. I said, "Well, here." I discussed the movie with them that I thought would be kind of in the vein of what they wanted to see. And I shepherd them into the theater, and they sit down and start watching the movie, and I go out to work and take care of the rest of the organizations that we're doing along with the rest of the team. And it's a couple hours later, and I run into Steve again in the lobby, and when I see him, he's gone and bought a day pass. Him and his wife and the friend bought a day pass, and he has a big thing of popcorn here, and his beer's spilling. He's like, Tony, this is, oh my God, I'm having the time of my life. This is incredible. And I did not expect, it was like a complete 180 in his mood about what was going on. And his wife comes by, and I said, "Well, that's great. I'm glad you're having it." He goes, "Oh, come on, honey, we got to go. We're going to start missing the shorts block." And she grabs him basically by the collar, and they're stumbling off into the next theater to go catch the next screening. And I sort of stood there for a few seconds afterwards, and I thought, man, that's cool. That really kind of comes down to what we were trying to do as a mission for genre movies, was that we want to demonstrate the art house movies with the grindhouse style. A lot of times they get dismissed or set aside, and a lot of the great directors working today, a lot of names that we would see, that's where they got their start. Making horror movies, making suspense movies and action movies and sci-fi movies. And they are the leaders in the industry now. So I feel it's important to have a platform to discover those filmmakers. It's a real honor to be able to show these movies at Thriller Chiller.
Was that the defining moment when you knew that you had something here?
I think maybe it's strange. The defining moment is actually in year one, when Chris and I were in the vestibule waiting to go on stage, and we had James Karen there, had attended the festival, actor James Karen, wonderful man. And we were standing there real downtrodden because we had really been beaten up by almost practically no attendance. And yet we had a real solid core of how it was organized. It's just who we are as people, Chris, Keith, and myself, Keith Galinsky, the other co-founder. Who has since retired, and Chris and I are co-directing the festival. My wife is the marketing director, now that you've got the whole family tree going on. Needless to say, we're staying in this vestibule, and Chris and I were in there, and we're waiting kind of like, geez. He could tell we had been really put through it. And he says, basically, buck up, boys. I've been in the Oscars, and they're not half as organized as this. Keep it up. You're doing a great job.
Awesome.
And we did. We have ever since.